afternoon, my Dungeon Boss brethren. We are back with yet another Fad Friday, and this week it seems only fitting, since it is the Days of Wrath, that we have a look at Rath himself. See how he stacks up, comparatively speaking, to everybody else. Now, because he is a tank, he is obviously not I guess, as sexy as some of the other heroes are. So really, what we're hoping for is utility amongst all things. Is ultimately what's going to make Rath the best. So his stats as a whole, I'm guessing, are not going to be anything too overwhelming. I'll get to that in just a second here. Before we look at the stats, let's look at his traits. So starting off, he has 5 traits. Don't quote me on where these occur with the actual ascensions, but fully ascended, he does have 5 traits. A couple of unique ones to him, but that's just how he works. So, first up is a pit fighter, which is basically a fancy word of saying armored. So on top of that, in addition to being armored, he also gains energy for each enemy that he defeats, and he gains a little bit of health at the end of every round. So self heals is always great. His skill is going to impact that. And then plus energy, we won't know about the plus energy until we look at the skills a little bit closer in terms of what his cooldowns are going to be. That said, with lower level stats or lower level stats. Lower level stats, he's likely not going to be doing much killing himself, unless you're going against possibly some light based teams, in which case he might be killed by them anyways. Trait number 2 is the Raging Revenge, which is another one that is unique to him. So he does more damage to lower health. He gets and he makes revenge attacks. So it's not just the um, deal more damage when he gets lower health, like someone like I believe Shadowblade maybe or Masuda. But he also gives a revenge attack for anybody that crits against them. Again, depending on what that crit results, that might kill him. Who really knows what that's going to be? Revenge attack, based on what his abilities look like, is not going to be anything significant anyways. His attack is fairly weak, being a tank, so it's nice out there. But maybe if he gets a crit and it takes him down to almost no health, then he returns back. Maybe you do 2 times or 3 times the damage. I don't know what the exact multipliers are. We won't get into that just yet. Wielder of the Doomhold. This is his unique trait. Doomhold is his shield. So um, it's like the Darkhold in the MCU, but it's the Doomhold. So it increases defense by 10% and takes 50% reduced damage from crits. So this plays a part in the previous trait. He takes crit damage, but he does half damage to the crits. Um, so 50% reduced damage from crits. If you just look at any crit chance, it's 200%. Most likely, what's going to happen is the crit multiplier for everybody else will be 150%, is the way that that's going to go into the calculation. So, does time and a half instead of twice, right? Enemies who purge buffs from this hero take 5% magical damage for each stack of buff purged. So basically, if you're purging buffs, and remember you have to actually purge buffs, so there's not a lot of people that actually purge the buffs, so you have to keep that in mind. This is just sort of an extra one as far as this Doomhold goes. Really what you're looking for is the reduction in crit damage and the increased defense. That's the whole purpose of this one. Taking that magical damage per buff purge is just a deterrent for late game if somebody's got no health left and he happens to purge a buff. So not likely to happen. Elite Defender starts with 1 stack of Defended for 3 turns. If the hero is the only tank on the team, he also starts taunting with an additional stack of Defended. Defended is a buff that gives you plus percent defense based on however many stacks. It's fairly modest, maxing out at like say 20% or so with 5 stacks. So it's much like the inspired or whatever the other traits are where they give those tiered based bonuses to defense. So at first glance it looks like Rath's major thing is going to be defense, based on this trait here as well as his first one with taking less damage. So And then most often he starts taunting, like I said, unless you run dual tanks, which most people do not do. Being that he is legendary, you're certainly not running dual tanks in a legendary PvP situation. Running him in a campaign dungeon, sure, knock yourself out, do whatever you want. When we get into boss and challenge mode, having a high defense, high health, high damage reduction tank will obviously fare us very, very well. And then last trait here is again the Doomhold, power of the Doomhold. While this hero was alive, other allies gave 5% increased defense and 25% reduction from crits. That is similar to what he had before. So instead of 200% damage, they would get 175%. And then an extra defense is always nice as well. If he's the only dark hero, which most of the time he probably will be, I mean, unless you're running an all dark team, then they get twice that. So then it would be similar to what he has with the 10% and the 50%. It is the same thing. If he ends up being the only dark hero on the team, those other folks basically align with him as well. So as far as the traits go, if you look at his traits, basically defense and damage reduction. That's the name of the game. No bonus attacks. If you look at his attack right now, it's modest, keeping in mind that he is only level 42. Um, so attack 1079. As far as where that stacks up level wise, he is 5-starred. I just want to point that out. So he has room to improve with attack. But his attack at this point here is um, 29 times his level, which is on the lower end. Let me run a quick number on that. So, stand by. We go highest to lowest. Rath ends up being towards the bottom. In probably, as of right now, his attack comparative to level is about 25 per level, for example. 25 broken out over those 42 levels. Not very good at all. Really, not that many people less than him. Most of them are generic ones. A lot of tanks, a lot of healers in terms of attacks. So you can expect that he was not going to dish out a ton of damage. So we kind of knew that attack was not going to be his game. So let's look at defense instead. His defense is 1554. Keeping in mind he has two different plus 10s, Elite Defender and Wielder the Doomhold. So 1554 at this level, comparatively speaking, it is 37 times his level. And that is going to take us to much better. So he is in top 10 as far as what I have right now, and that is with him being at 5 stars. So the only folks currently better than him at that level, Augustus, Stonefist, William, Gortusk, Bovis, and Spitfire. Few of those people are actually maxed out as far as their levels go. Actually, William is the only one. Now, as you gain those extra ones back, we might see diminishing returns and other people go up and other people go down. But currently, for my roster, his defense to his level ratio is very, very high. Might even get a little bit better, but not really sure. Skill, we're not overly concerned about what skill is going to do. Skill is very, very low for him. He does have that little bit of heal, but it's going to be negligible. The one that I'm most interested in for him as a tank is going to be his max health. Going to be a little bit tough to guess because we have to deal with um, the star bonus. He has no other bonuses here, so we can guess what this is roughly going to be when it's 100%. So if it's 100% at this level, it would be 6,300 roughly, 6,320 if we're going to be guessing. But what I want to see is how much he gains per level to kind of guess what he's going to have in the long run. Currently, his health is top 20. So right now, Rath is his health is 120-ish times his level. Um, Puts him, like I said, in the top 10. What I'm looking for is if he's going to eclipse 10,000 when he is fully leveled up. To do that, we are going to run a quick number here. So his defense, or his health, 50, 58. That goes to 51, 53. 51, 53 minus 50, 58 is 95. That would put him at 43, and he's got 37 more levels. So that's an extra 3,500 for him here. That would put him at 8,700 about at 5 stars. Um, so yeah, he's gonna definitely go over 10,000. I don't know if he's gonna be the highest because I don't have any high level tanks that are really at that point. But he's definitely gonna have well over 10,000. He might be closer to 12,000 actually. So anybody that has a level 80 Wrath, 6 stars, please let me know what his max health is. I would love to hear that. So from a stat perspective, like I said, kind of what we thought it was going to be: defense, damage reduction, and health. Not really much else that he has going on here. His abilities, his attack is nothing special at all. So he does 545. My numbers are based off of the previous value here. Um, I apparently lost the numbers that I actually had. Guess I don't know where they went, but I did have some numbers previously worked out. Um, I do have them. They're actually just logged in somebody else's name. I will have to make sure my spreadsheet didn't get screwed up there. But his attack was 540, which was actually quite a bit less than his attack rating. He's coming in at about 32% of his attack rating for his basic attack, which is not that great. His first ability is a little bit odd compared to other heroes. This is his actual big hitting one. He doesn't have a 2.5x, but his first skill is a times 2. This is actually exactly twice what his basic attack is. So he's doing 2 times his basic attack. But it's only a single target damage. It does stun for 2 turns. We love the stun. And then it does prone for everybody else. So 2 good things there as far as being a team player goes. Um, his second ability is his taunting and his defense one. So naturally the attack is very, very low. His attack is actually lower than his basic attack. So it does hit everybody. But it's ultimately a very low one. Gives him taunting and it increases his defense along the way as well. So, and then anybody else with low health, they get a stack as well. And lastly, the Doomhold Unleash. This is where Rath is a little bit different than a lot of folks in terms of having 2 bigger powered attacks. This one here is not quite 2x. This is a 1.7x. So this one here does um, well, I guess it's not really 1.7x because it's divided out amongst everybody. So it does 1.7 the basic attack, but assume that it's divided by 4. You're actually looking at 40% of basic attack. So actually pretty weak if you ask me. Its only saving grace is if you clear some debuffs, which likely is not going to happen. You certainly shouldn't count on that for this attack here. So um, all things considered, skills wise, their abilities pretty uneventful for the most part. I like that he gives the stun on his basic attack. That's nice, or is not his basic, but his first skill. But aside from that, nothing overly special here. He would need to have a pretty solid epic in order to make him even worthwhile using in campaign dungeons outside of anything that you're forced to use him in. So um, initial, I guess initial, I guess assessment is that I'm not super thrilled with Rath. I don't know why he is legendary. I truly don't. Comparatively speaking, with other folks who have way better passives, uh, I don't know. I don't see the allure of Wrath. I mean, I see him in PvP all the time. He obviously stands no chance against a light team. Um, but maybe if he was a silver, he would really kick ass in silver PvP. But certainly not legendary aside from what he looks like. So, and maybe that's what they're going for when they first made him. I don't remember if he was legendary in the old game or not, or if he got an upgrade in the new game, but certainly nothing screams legendary. When we get him level 80 and 6 stars, maybe his stats will outpace everybody else. But at the end of the day, we're still only gaining defense and health. His attack is never going to be even that of a moderate low level caster. So, as far as using him, I don't personally recommend him, but if you want to use him because he looks cool, by all means. He does have a pretty cool skin. When you do the Gladiator one, I do like that. I don't have it myself, but yeah. So, like I said, all things considered, Wrath is not anything special. I am going to try and farm some tokens here and see if I can get him to 6 stars. The event dungeon's a little bit slow and there's no friend use in there, so I'm basically sacrificing XP potions just to get a couple of Wrath tokens. It's going slowly but steadily. I'm counting out all of the doors and basically counting that to a T. You know, we get 10 per door. There's going to be 140 tokens via doors. So I have 110 left. That's going to put me at 212. So I need, another 40 tokens of grinding that dungeon, which I should be able to get to, but like I said, it's very boring. If there's any hidden gems that you see with Rath, my guess is his hidden gems will be synergies courtesy of some other dark hero. If you use him on a dark team, he might get more powerful in other aspects, but like I said, his health and defense are already good. His attack and his overall generic utility are not going to get better just because he's paired with other folks. So use him to beat the root of all evil with an all beast team, and then you can retire him for the most part. Said if you have any other insights on Wrath, teams you use them on, feel free to drop those in comments. Otherwise, we will see you again next time. Take care, everybody. Thank you for watching, and remember, I make YouTube videos for the American working man, because that's what I am, and that's who I care about.